morning to you. As always, we appreciate you for joining us here on Global Television. We're live in Abuja, Nigeria's capital. And this is Global Morning, the first for the business week, of course, coming up with so much of excitement. I am Uyi Agmofwebe and Jumai Manson, who apparently had a very amazing weekend. I don't have the full story yet, but hopefully we'll hear from the horse's mouth this morning. Jumai, good to see you. It's great to know you had an amazing weekend.
I didn't tell you that.
Time will fail us to share all of those enjoyment moments that you had.
I didn't tell you that. It wasn't really an amazing weekend.
Amazing is relative.
Whatever. Well, good morning to each and every one of you out there. It's great to be here. It's a beautiful Monday morning, and I'm here side by side with my co-host, a very annoying co-host.
That would be annoying once in a while.
I'm just kidding, but it's great to be here. It's a beautiful Monday morning. Not really an amazing weekend. I told you, my godmother lost her husband in the course of last week. Very unfortunate incident.
Right.
Colonel Ukut retired. It's very sad. It's very sad, but not really amazing. But we thank God, still celebrating life at the same time.
It's how life works. As sad as it is, there are just situations we are helpless about.
Yeah,
and we just wish we could turn the hands of time, as Kelly would say.
Yes.
But at best, we can only sing the song, it turns out every one of us has lost somebody dear to us. So you can readily relate when someone loses a dear one, and then of course you realize that all you can do is just cry and wish you could have done something different. I also got a piece of bad news this morning from someone I care about who just lost her mother-in-law. She slipped into a coma on Thursday for the second time. All right, and they were hoping the same miracle that had happened previously would repeat itself. But this time, I opened my WhatsApp this morning, and the first message I read is she didn't make it. And my spirit drops. But again, like I said, what can you do? And this lady in particular had put in the work to ensure that the elderly lady, her own mother-in-law, got the care that she needed and things like that. Spoke with her on Saturday, and I could tell she was within the hospital, running from one end to another. I work in Nigerian hospitals and things like that. And then in between, she ends the call and says, I need to speak to the doctor. That was the last time we talked about on Saturday, and this morning she reaches out and says the woman couldn't make it. So, Jumai, I want to say very sorry about that loss. Even though you're not directly affected, but it concerns somebody you care about. So,
someone I care about and love.
So I can relate to how you feel.
And also to you too. I'm saying to that person, although not directly, but at least someone you care about and of course love. And the good thing about all of this is you sit down and you know that you played your part. You did your part when it comes to trying to help the person to get better, to come back to life. You did your part. You just didn't sit down and just waddle. You were up on about. You were trying you did as much as you can when it comes to prayers, when it comes to finance, when it comes to the doctor, when it comes to the presence. So I think that's what consoles the individuals that are loved ones of that person. So it goes along with. But at the same time, all individuals that have lost their lives, may they rest in perfect peace.
Sure, we really do. Let's not be feeling downcast this morning. There has to be the human side to everything that we do. It's a Monday, no doubt about that. A great and very promising one. However, we won't fail to also bring you up to speed as to some of the big events from this last weekend. Of course, the APC had its own convention on Friday. PDP followed up by Sunday. At this point in time, it is very clear when you say PDP. It's not so much about the factions now as it is about the direction of the party. Yesterday was very eventful, no doubt about that. Several of members of the party, leaders from across the country, gathered at the Velodrome here within the MK Abiola Stadium in Abuja to elect national leaders going forward. Of course, they've been running the leadership structure of the party on the basis of caretaker committee. But the leadership of the party, again, spearheaded, as it were, by no less a person than Nyesom Wike, Minister of the FCT, decided to say, look, enough of these skeletal arrangements.
Exactly.
Let's have something more structured, something substantive. And then yesterday was a big day for them. By midnight yesterday, or if you like this morning, the PDP already knew whom its leaders are. And today the rest is history, even though we know the faction loyal to Turaki SAN will not recognize this leadership. But whether you like it or not, the PDP must move on. You can't continue to run around this mountain.
No, you cannot. And they cannot with this internal crisis that is up and going. And it's off and on. It's not making this like now. It wasn't causing a structure.
Right.
But now with everyone knowing their parts, spearheading their own forte, everyone knows that. Well, let's not conclude about the PDP saying there is no light at the end of the tunnel.
Right.
Let's see what it's going to bring to the table now that we now know, everyone now knows who is leading what and how. So at the same time, let's not be too quick to judge. Individuals have come and said there is writing the PDP off, there's nothing to write. But let's just see what this brings. It might just turn around and just maybe a spring of surprise. Who knows?
Of course. Well, we wait to see how this turns out. Really, we know, yes, there are state chapters of the party that apparently did not participate in this convention yesterday. Well, the PDP will find a way to figure it out as they make progress, no doubt about that. But let's take a quick break because there's so much we will be talking about on the show today, especially as it has to do with this convention from last night. All right, thank you so very much for staying with us. Like I highlighted on Big Talk yesterday, the PDP has had a strain amongst its leading members that has spanned a very long time. I mean, we're looking at something that has run for, 3 years, thereabout. And that's a long time to have had a conflict within a party, because the PDP, like other political parties, says it's a big family, one big family. But we have not seen so much of family traits, the traditional family traits play out on the PDP. Like I also asked while hosting Big Talk yesterday, where are those founding fathers of the PDP?
Exactly.
What efforts have they made?
Why are they so quiet?
To weld the party. What efforts have they made to say, look, this is not an avenue to apportion blames, but we've got to ensure that we call our people together. We've got to ensure that we rally around and among ourselves. We've got to ensure that we don't take our eye off the ball, as they say, which means that we must focus on what really matters, which is beyond winning elections, to ensure that we prove to Nigerians that we are better than the APC and indeed every other party.
Back and better.
Right, but as it stands right now, the PDP hasn't done that just yet. And there are analysts and, of course, political watchers who believe that Nyesom Wike and his people want to prove that point. However, again, the challenge is Nyesom Wike and those who are loyal to him say that the PDP will not field presidential candidates in 2027. So if the PDP wants to be serious, it should shoot for 2031. 2027, we're supporting the current president, Bola Tinubu. Therefore, the PDP must understand that the strategy is to focus on 2031. On the flip side, the Turaki-led faction of the party says, no, we are an independent party. As a matter of fact, we have been the ruling party for 16 years in this country. We returned Nigeria to democracy in 1999. At a point, we became the most formidable opposition party in Nigeria. Therefore, we can't be seen to kowtow to the APC in the name of throwing our weight behind President Tinubu in 2027. So we realize that at this point, let's be very frank with ourselves. The faction of the PDP led by Turaki probably have two options now. Find a way, that's the first option, find a way to align with the Wike. With the PDP as it stands, there's no such thing as Wike leader.
Exactly.
All right? Or they move to other parties. Who knows? The ADC probably, because we're seeing very many members of the PDP, including the leading ones, move to the ADC. So realignment and alignments are happening as we speak. In fact, by the time we're done with this program, I'm very sure Engineer Rabi Musa Kwankwaso will just be an hour or two away from formally joining the ADC, right? And he's moving with the entire Kwankwasia movement, his entire base, which is very strong in Kano.
Very strong.
And analysts say that if you look at how Kwankwasia has performed so far, especially given that they produced a governor in 2023, even though the gentleman has now defected to the APC, you realize that the defection by Kwankwaso to the APC will pose very serious threats to the APC in Kano. And if the APC doesn't put its best foot forward, it will eventually lose Kano to the ADC. And if that happens, it will create a very fundamental upset in not just the politics of Kano, but that of Nigeria, because we know that every time we have a general election cycle, we essentially wait for results from 3 states, Lagos, Rivers, and Kano. So if ADC takes Kano away from the hands of the APC going into 2027, Juma, you and I will come back here the morning after and we'll be having a different kettle of fish. I know you're a fan of fish.
Not really.
Or chicken, yes.
You are the fan of chicken. Well, that's the thing about politics. You just don't see these things coming. But at the same time, you just have to watch and see what this actually brings. But I am sure for the PDP, I think it's going to be a turnaround, a very drastic one, basically. Like you said, for the Turaki-led fraction of the PDP, it is just 2 options. Either they move to another party, which I doubt very much, or they just align with what is happening with the People's Democratic Party. I think that is the best thing to do. If it's not, because being a party member is not all about you. It's about what you can bring. You say you have a different mindset when it comes to ruling party and how Nigeria should be led and all of that. You can make things better and all of that. I think let's concentrate on the party and see what it brings to us as a nation. So going to another party, I don't think is an option. But, forming that alliance with your party mates and all that, making it better, I think that's the best option. That's just my own opinion. But let's just see what this brings, basically. 2027 is just around the corner. And let's just see what PDP are trying to do when it comes to structure of that particular party, like you mentioned before. But so far, at least, we now know that they're beginning to have a ground. It's not skeletal, like it was before. This individual is saying this. Better structured. But I'm sure things will align with time. But let's just see what it brings. But I'm sure they have something.
Speaking of things aligning with time, politicians have a way of doing their own negotiations, different from what you have with Labour and the federal government. You'll be shocked, the same people who won't meet eye to eye, we say on weekend now, will come around, have conversations behind closed doors without press access, and the next thing you know is they join forces. You wonder, hold on a second, just before bedtime yesterday, these guys were sworn enemies. This morning they are holding and giving high fives. I mean, what's going on there? We could see that happen. We could also see a situation where this other, if you like, block of the PDP from the Turaki side adopting a different special purpose vehicle in the name of a political party. It may not even be the ADC. Can be a different party altogether. After all, the governor of Osun State moved from the PDP to Accord. When many persons would have thought the next port of call would be the ADC. So politicians are the best when it comes to springing surprises. Nobody wins that battle. So we leave them with that trophy. But now let's come to 2027 proper, right? And then look at what happened at the convention yesterday. I believe it means a lot when a former governor like Ayodele Fayose of Ekiti State would say categorically that, look, without missing words, Nyesom Wike is our leader. In fact, whatever direction he proposes, we follow. We don't have an alternative. We don't have a counter proposition. So that means a lot. That is categorical. That is emphatic. You can take it to the bank because it's on record. You find a man like, one of the, if you like, most witty, most articulate governors we have produced, at least in this Fourth Republic. Former governor of Jigawa State, Sule Lamido, saying that Wike is our leader. Do you mind? That is premium endorsement. And it sends a strong message to say that, look, the dynamics within the PDP have changed. For those of you who have not realized it, for those of you who pretend not to know it, for those of you who intentionally live in denial, you have something else coming. Because at the end of the day, things ain't going to be the same as the same. Right, because that's what it is. That's the thing about politics. Once things move from one point to the other, they don't return to that point. They almost never do. So as it stands today, Wike has redefined, rightly or wrongly, like it or hate it, the way the PDP operates. And the way opposition works. Before now, the way we knew opposition was that if Juma is the ruling party, we will condemn everything that Juma and her party do.
That's always been the...
So there is no way and there is no point in time at which I'm going to work with you. But Wike has changed that narrative. Wike comes up in 2023 and he says, look, I'm going to work with the president. When he made that appointment, he had 5 appointments, I wrote to the leaders of my party from the world level up to the national level. That was what they said at his inaugural press briefing on the 21st of August in 2023. And they all gave me their blessing. They all gave me the go-ahead to work with President Bola Tinubu.
Exactly.
He moved away from there and he says to Nigerians that, look, in 2027, I'm going to support this man. I'm going to throw my way behind this president. I'm not working for any other person. The PDP will remain as a party. I remain as a loyal member.
A can member.
Yes, of the PDP. So don't even speculate about my defection to the APC because that ain't going to happen. And you're wondering, hold on a second, where's all this coming from? And before you're done processing that, the man shocks you again. He shocks you one more time. He shocks you again.
Exactly.
And today, as we say, PDP has, if you like, reinvented itself. But then in 2027, it's not just going to be about the PDP not fielding a presidential candidate. It's going to now be the APC on the flip side, asking itself, what competitive advantage do we have against the ADC? So the polity, as we know, the entire political landscape has changed.
Yes, it has.
And for those who have not realized it, they will still live in another country.
They do. And for as much as you said something very vital, you can love it or you hate it. Nyesom Wike has he has a different dynamic. This is not me holding brief for him.
Right.
But it is what it is. He has a different dynamics when it comes to politics.
Right.
And being a politician, he has really changed the mindset. When, like you said, it's not all about pulling down someone. That has always been the narrative. When a particular administration is on siege, you try to tear them down. But he has decided to work hand in hand with them, and at the same time, still being loyal to his own party. So that's something big. I think politicians should learn from that. And we might hate him or love him, but he's a strategist.
Right.
And the truth of the matter is, he knows the game. And the truth is, he does. And the thing is, like I said, I'm not holding brief for him. I think they didn't do badly by making Nyesom Wike
the national leader.
No, they didn't do it. That wasn't a very bad call to make. I think that was the right call to make. I'm just saying.
Right.
I think it's going to structure the PDP to a whole new dimension. It might not be something that will, but at least structure will finally come back. And of course, all these internal crises here and there, there'll be a change and it will be better for the party.
Of course. Right. I took our time to reminisce a little while I was at the convention venue yesterday about how the PDP got here, some of the highlights, right? Nyesom Wike had talked about how that when the party was broken, when the party was down and out, as you say, that most persons had abandoned the party. And a few persons, including himself, or if you like, led by him, were the ones that gave the party that oxygen, in the manner of speaking, that it desperately needed at that point in time. And today, even though the PDP is not where it ought to be, the at least is still alive, it's still breathing.
Exactly.
It has left the ICU, as it were. And he made reference to it last night in the course of his speech. He said, look, for those of you who left the party when it critically needed you to be around to continue to support it, you lack character, and as such, you don't have the basis to continue to enjoy the resources that this platform provides. And as such, he also called on them to return the party's mandates, which, again, that's only theoretical. But the point he was making is that you don't buy the fingers that fed you. However, Wike has also been criticized for biting the fingers that fed you. Nobody is an island. Nobody is isolated from being held by others. Somebody also raised you. The PDP gave you a platform since 1998, 1999, and you have grown steadily through the ranks. And today, you are a prominent politician. You are visible within the Nigerian political landscape, and history will not be complete if Nyesom Wike is not mentioned while writing the story of Nigerian politics, political leadership, political development.
Very true.
So it's an argument from both sides of the coin, but you can't take away the fact that Wike has now become what many political experts would call a political maverick, because it's the guy who doesn't play by the conventional rules.
He doesn't.
He doesn't follow the norms. And they were wondering, how does he do all of this and quote unquote get away with it? Because not everybody can pull this off, really.
Not everyone.
For many leaders of the PDP, those who are the founding fathers of the PDP, those in the bracket of Chief Bode George, for example, believe that Wike is a small boy. I mean, how do you do this? How do you make this happen?
And get away with it.
Yeah, but what has really changed now, if you ask me, is the fact that the PDP dropped the ball. Maybe they didn't realize it, right? The PDP was complacent. The PDP believed that things would remain the same. All right, maybe because Tupac once said some things will never change, but some things do change, really. And for the PDP, a lot has changed. I realized that back in the day, while he was still governor, Sule Lamido said the PDP will rule Nigeria for 70 years. And I came to realize that even the PDP itself believed it would be here for as long as possible. Because the PDP was only in power for 16 years. If you do the math, you take off 16 from 70, it was a far cry in terms of what the ambition, as realistic as it was that the PDP had. So I'm saying all of that to say that the PDP was not strategic on the long term.
True.
Right. But at that point in time, the APC was doubling down on its opposition politics strategy, because that's when you saw a lot of the leaders of the APC, or as it then was, the AC and the ACN, coming to rail against the policies and the leadership style of the PDP. But the PDP felt too laid back.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So at the end of the day, it was a case of he who breaks the wall, the serpent will come and bite.
Very well said. I think so. Being laid back, I completely agree. But I think now,
lesson has been learned.
A big lesson has been learned. You shouldn't be laid back, and of course, loyalty comes into play here.
Right.
Really, a lot of individuals, politicians who have left the PDP when it was at the really down and out moment. I'm sure once something, I still believe that no political party should be written off, especially those that have ruled Nigeria, who understands the rigors when it comes to these issues. But at the same time, let's just see what it brings, and I'm sure it's going to bring something good for the Turaki-led faction. It's not worth it going to court. For me, I'm just saying, I think we should just work together for the benefit of the party and the individuals, and to see what it brings to the table for 2027. We just don't know. Like I said, politicians and political parties, they're fond of springing up surprises, and I think I'm sure no one saw this coming. No one saw this coming with Yesunike and Turaki-led faction. No one saw this coming. We all believe that the Turaki-led faction will be the one, he will be the national chairman of the party. But you see now, let's just see what it brings, basically, and then hope it's for good. It's very important.
Okay, so let's leave it there for now, everyone, as we now join Ramsey Enoch Agbo to bring you some motivation on Heart to Heart Inspirational.
Hello and welcome to another moment of Heart to Heart Inspirational. Let's talk heart to heart a little bit, because a lot of people have not been able to bounce back after the last time they failed. My name is Ramsey Enoch Agbo. Welcome to Heart Inspirationals. Failure is a feedback and not a funeral. I want to say that again, because of people who failed. Some people fell and they remain on the ground. They never got up again because of what they feel people around them are going to say. But then failure is a feedback. And that's why some people will tell you all the time that whatever happens, all right, there is a lecture from every lesson. Whatever happens to you in life, there is something that you are meant to learn from it, either positively or negative thing that you need to take cognizance of and be watchful as you move on the journey of life. So I just want to tell you today that failure is a feedback and not a funeral. What kind of feedback did you get from that last failure? Have you even tried anything at all? Have you experienced failure before? If you've not experienced failure before, it means you need to try harder, because on this journey of destiny, people who are successful today are people who have failed a number of times, and they got up on their feet, learned from their mistake, and their mistake became a stepping stone for them, and of course they are where they are today. Why? Because they never allow that failure to become a funeral to their dream. What am I emphasizing? As a matter of fact, let's normalize something today, all right? Let's normalize something today. A failure, you've heard about it all the time. Okay, this person is a failure, that person is a failure. You know, people assess their counterparts, their neighbors, their brothers, their colleagues differently with different perspectives. Some persons already have been tagged as failure, and that has been affecting a lot of people. But then, have you accepted that you are a failure? That somebody told you you are a failure does not make you a failure until you accept that you are a failure. All right, not because it feels good, yeah, but because it is necessary. Sometimes, you know, it's risk. It's risk. If you have taken a risk before, and of course, it didn't go well the way you think it was going to go, and you failed, it doesn't mean that is a funeral. It doesn't mean you shouldn't try it again. I was speaking with someone a few days ago, yeah, and we're talking about a particular business, and the young man told me, now I am successful, but then during my wilderness experience, when I was in the workshop, nobody knew anything about me. When I was failing over and over and over again, I lost money several times. I had to stay indoors and think of the next thing to do. He failed severally until he said, no, I am not going to allow this failure become a funeral. My dream is not going to be cut short by this failure. And he stood on his ground. Consistency. I must always emphasize consistency anytime I come up to speak to anyone on Heart to Heart, because it is very important. If you want to succeed in life, then consistency and discipline is very important. But the bottom line is this: nobody ever succeeds without first stumbling. Yes. You stumble, then you stand again. Even every little child, before a child starts walking, you stand them up, you see them, they walk a little bit, they fall. They walk a little bit, they fall until their leg gets stabled on the ground. All right? And you see them walking firmly. Then before you know it, they start running. The same thing is applicable to life. So failure, as a matter of fact, is not proof that you can't. All right, it's not a proof that you can't do it. It's proof that you tried. It's a proof that you tried. When you fail, it means you tried and you failed. It doesn't mean that's the end. It reveals what doesn't work and refine what eventually would work later. That's what failure does. Anytime you fail, you know that, yes, this one does not work. Let me try the other one. It gives you a focus. It makes you know that, yes, if I go this way, I'm going to fail again. So I need to do something else. It's only a fool that do the same thing the same way and expect a different result. If you are doing one thing the same way all the time, you get the same result. You need to apply technicality, strategy, discipline, excellence every time. Whatever you do, let that touch of excellence be in your head. All right? So that when you fail in one thing, you try doing it the other way. But then don't allow that first, second, third, fourth failure be your funeral. Let your dream and your vision and your talent not be buried because you failed. Because that failure is trying to refine you. It's trying to build something in you. What do you have to do? I want you to know that failure, what it does is that it reveals what doesn't work and refines what eventually will work. But you need to have this mentality. Every setback is information. If you are willing to learn, yes, that's what it means. Every setback that you've had in the past is an information. Because there is something you need to learn from every setback, from every failure. Everyone throwing stones at you right now is because they know you are going somewhere. Let me tell you the truth. We have a lot of friendly enemies these days. Some people are smiling with you, but then they are not interested in your success. What they say behind you, if you hear it, hey, but then that shouldn't deter you. That shouldn't deter you because you have a destination. So every setback is information if you are willing to learn, because most people don't fail because they are incapable. That you failed, it's not because you are incapable. incapable, but because you are going somewhere, because you are dogged, because you are rugged, because you are determined, because you are focused, because you have a dream, you have a vision, something you are pursuing and something you want to get, you have a target. So when people like that fail, they fail because they don't stop. But if you stop anytime soon, it means that failure has gotten to you. Let me give you an instance, an illustration. For instance, a GPS recalculates when you miss a turn. It doesn't shut down. All right? Failure, in other words, simply means it's time to adjust. Anytime you fail, the message is, no, I need to adjust. This principle, this procedure, this formula is not working. I need to adjust. There is something I need to do so that I don't fail again. That's what it means. Anytime you fail, there is a message. It is telling you it is time to adjust the procedure. It is time to re-strategize. That's what it means. All right, so you don't need to abandon your journey because you failed. There is a practical mindset shift that you need to have, and this is it. Number one, stop attaching shame to failure. Yes, stop attaching shame to failure. Some people, when they fail, they feel shy. Oh no, I'm not going to get on that stage again. They will laugh at me. No, I'm not going to do that business again. People will laugh at me. People will mock me. The same people will celebrate and want to identify with you if you are a success. So there should be a mindset and a mind shift for you. Extra lessons instead of self-criticism. Stop criticizing yourself because you failed. Stop criticizing yourself. Stop comparing yourself to other people with other people because you failed. That you failed. Failure is not a funeral. Stop burying yourself in shame and criticism. Try again. Make it better. Make it wiser. Make it stronger. That's what it means. All right? Failure is tuition paid for future success. That is a quote that I'm bringing to you now. Failure, I said, is what? Is tuition paid for future success. But if you don't pay, if you go to school now, all right, 100 level, you need to pay a tuition in 100 level. You get to 200, you pay another tuition before you can get to 300 level. In every of this level, there are tuitions to pay. If you want to change levels in life, don't be scared of failure. If you are scared of failure, you will never try anything good. So what do you have to do? Keep pushing. Don't bury your dream because of one mistake that you made. I'll keep saying this. Learn, rise, and move forward. Don't worry about what people are saying. Don't worry about the situation around you. Don't think, oh, I have failed. I don't need to try it again. Keep trying. Change the strategy. Become wiser. Failure make you wiser. Because you walk through this way and you fail, you apply this strategy, this technique, this principle, this formula, and you failed. You will now need to re-strategize. Use another formula. All right? Until you get to your success. Until you get to what you want to achieve in life. All right? So you need to know that anytime you fail, it's a signal that you need to turn. You need to do something again. You need to re-strategize. You need to improvise. Come up with something new. As a matter of fact, failure is not the best option for you. So what do you have to do? Try as much as possible. Right, to be sincere in everything that you do. Because if you want to please people, it will be disastrous. You don't need to please anyone, all right? You don't need to please anyone. It is when you're thinking about pleasing people that when you stumble, you say, oh, I've disappointed this person. I've disappointed even people who really love you, who want you to be successful. By the time you fail, instead of them condemning you, they will come and encourage you to do better. And that's the reason you need mentors. That's the reason you need people to talk to per time. All right? You need to talk to people. See, if you are embarking on a project, I emphasize mentorship all the time. I was speaking with a friend a few days ago, and I told the person, if I want to do this thing you're doing now, it is going to be express for me. It's going to be easier. I may have hitches. There might be some times where you have losses or maybe failure at some point, but then you have people to ask questions. I have someone to ask questions. Hey, I got hooked here. What do I do? Even the disaster is not going to be as disastrous as it would have been if you never have anyone to guide you on this journey of destiny. You really need people, okay? Because as your association determine your acceleration in life, okay? And your friends, you need to be careful with the kind of friends you have. If you have a bad friend, it is disaster. If you have a good friend, it means you have a shoulder to lean on, a shoulder to stand on and be tall so that you can get to that success that you are running after, that you are pursuing. Yes, congratulations, everyone. You are a success going somewhere to happen. Don't allow anything stop you on the way. Not failure, not criticism. Don't bury yourself because you failed. Failure is not funeral. Bye-bye for now and have a beautiful day.
All right, you're welcome back. And if you're just tuning in, this is Global Morning on Global Television. And of course, that was Heart to Heart Inspiration with Ramsey Enoch Agbo. Hope you're well inspired with today's inspirational. Next is the newspaper review segment. I'm going to start with the first paper of the day. It's the Leadership paper. And it says here, below the nameplate of the Leadership newspaper, it says, INEC attends Wike-backed PDP convention. Kwakwaso joins ADC today, and that you will find on page 4. And below all of that, basically, it says here, that's all on the Leadership paper, and go out to get yourself a copy and we will abreast with issues making rounds. Next is the Punch.
All right. Oh, thank you, Jermaine. Well, we'll take a look at the Punch now, beginning with one adjacent the nameplate. Has a picture of Kwara State Governor. Says governors snub 98 billion naira UBEC funds despite education crisis. What really does that mean? Find out on page 2 of the Punch newspaper today. All right. The big one, PDP convention. Wike bloc installs new NWC in Abuja. The writer tells us FCT Minister Bauchi Governor Saraki Gazu urged reconciliation, unity amid internal party tensions. All right. Tinubu at 74, President donates salaries to wounded soldiers' families. I know this has been a talking point. The President turned 74 yesterday.
Yes.
And he has said that he's donating all the salaries to wounded soldiers and their families.
That's fantastic.
And before that, he had asked for quiet, if you like, celebration, because he said the mood of the nation, the global energy crisis should be our focus. Finding solutions to those problems instead of, as it were, amplifying, razzmatazz and celebration.
Exactly.
And things like that, and that's quite human and humane of a leader to say.
Of course, and let's mention that that's the first of its kind, because we've not heard or seen such, donating all his salaries to wounded soldiers. It shows a lot about our dear President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. It shows that he's empathetic. He shows that his heart are with these soldiers, and it's not easy. I would tell you from a place because I understand. It's it's not easy. Imagine someone's husband in the Northeast, and then you hear that his arm is amputated. It's better for him to be amputated than dead. You know, there's a difference. But you know, it takes a toll on the family because psychologically, emotionally, he doesn't remain the same. A soldier that has been in the war front, it takes God and grace for him to come back to the man that you married or fell in love with. So it takes a toll on the family, it takes a toll on the wife, it takes a toll on the children. So it's a lot. Just as in what the president has done, it's a big deal. I say it's a big deal because it will help. You know, it's not easy, but at the same time, he shows that he is humane, and that's a good thing.
Well, let's look at 3 more headlines from the Punch newspaper for you. Bottom left corner. 2027, Kwankwaso joins ADC, sparks Obi Alliance talk. That was on page 22. Political titans, Dangote attend El-Rufai mother's burial. You know, the former governor of Kaduna State lost his mom. The burial was yesterday here at the National Mosque. We understand quite a number of political actors were there, governors serving and past. Of course, several other persons have gone earlier to condole with him as well in his residence here in Abuja. And we understand that the ICPC had to release him. You know, he had been in ICPC custody the entire time. We had to release him on purely humanitarian grounds so he could go give his dear mom befitting burial. The late Ajia Umar El-Rufai has been described in very sterling terms. Some, especially those who knew her very closely, talked about her as somebody who was humble, compassionate. But the one that got to me was when somebody mentioned that she had raised children who have contributed immensely to national development. I think when a woman dies knowing that she had done that, she can rest in power.
Yes, she can rest in power, and it takes a woman who understands that. It's not everyone that really understands that you can act. That's your own part when you contribute to the lives of individuals that have had that edge on not just a community but as a nation for national development. It takes a lot, and it takes a woman who really, really understands the toll and the weight at which it carries.
All right, so last headline we have for you from the Punch newspaper. It's bottom right. It says U.S. cuts Nigerian crude imports by nearly 50%. So what that means is the U.S. will be buying just about 50% of our oil now in terms of the volume that they used to buy. So that again will create a dip, as it were, in our oil revenues. All right, so it's quite a challenging moment. Now you're beginning to understand the context within which President Tinubu said, look, you don't have to throw parties for me. Let's be sober this period, right? Because this is not the time to celebrate. There's time for everything.
There's time for everything.
So if the U.S. cuts the volume of oil it purchases from you by nearly 50%, you know what that means. It's pretty much like somebody who earns 10,000. You earn that for years. All of a sudden they say, look, this company is going through crisis. We're trying to
cut down the cost.
Exactly. So we're going to have to please, if you don't mind, plead with you to accept a salary cut. So would you take a pay cut or would you resign?
And of course, you know, it's going to take a toll on every Nigerian. It's going to take a toll on the crisis.
Like everyone else realizes that, right?
Yeah. Oh God. But fingers crossed. Let's see what this will bring. Nigerians, we are survivors, they say.
Resilient and tenacious.
Yes, but at the same time, this is taking a very big toll. Fuel is on the high now, and a lot of individuals cannot come to work. You know, it's taking a toll on a lot of people. A lot of people have parked their cars, and they feel transportation is much more better than fueling your car and going to work. So it's taking a toll on a lot. We've not talked about food yet, transportation, and we've not even talked about, you know, school fees is just around the corner, and a lot of things encompass. But at the same time, let's see what this brings. Hope it doesn't cripple us completely, but hopefully the needful is done. Let's be hopeful.
Yeah, we have to be hopeful, right? It's what we are known for. These are your headlines, all of your headlines from the Punch newspaper this morning, everyone. Next port of call is the Nigerian Tribune.
All right, the Nigerian Tribune, and above the nameplate it says, poultry farmers lament egg scarcity, price hike over chicks shortage. And that's on page 11. So if you like eggs, this is going to affect you. And here it says Middle East crisis. Huge energy cost may stall manufacturing, 3.1% growth projection. And here it says CPPE puts annual spent on petrol generators at 10 trillion naira, 3.7 trillion naira. Crisis bad for business. LCCI says 57 million liters of fuel consumption, more than domestic refining capacity, and that's on page 5. Now below the nameplate there, it says Lamido Saraki, Merkerfi Moro attend Abuja PDP convention. And we have two riders there. It says Danwabo, Natasha, others in attendance, Makinde, Bala, Oyinlola, George Arakpaja, stay away. INEX attendance proof PDP is alive. Saraki, yeah, I believe that too. Return our mandate, Wike tells governors, others PDP defectors. And on the side there it says Tinubu unveils fund for fallen wounded troops, donates salaries. Wow. That you will find on page 3. And on page 3 again it says Tinubu and below on page 4 it says gasoline fumes may harm male fertility, and that's study. Okay. Okay. And it says Obi Kwakwaso to battle Atiku for ADC ticket. Now that's a lot of heavyweight there. And it says ex-Kano governor resigns from MNPP, joins ADC today. Mark-led party denies running mate slot concession to him, and that's on page 22. And basically those are all the major headlines on the Nigerian Tribune. Please go out and get yourself a copy and be well abreast with the major issues making rounds. Next we have the Vanguard.
All right, well, at the top of it, we'll top left corner, Atiku with Biden will be Amechi lead dignitaries to burial of El-Rufai's mother. Right, it says, as northern governors, Kano Emir mourn. PDP convention, Wike to defectors, we have taken back PDP. That sounds very definitive. We must resist one-party rule, Benga Hashim insists on page 48. By the way, Benga Hashim is the man who has been trying to reconcile agreed members of the PDP. How far those efforts have gone, we can't be sure now, but we hope the PDP gets it all together again. Very further down, says as deadline expires tomorrow, bank recapitalization raises 4.6 trillion naira. Sparks sectoral battle for allocation. Shareholders expect delayed returns, urge cautious, real sector-focused development. CPPE wants banks to channel funds to SMEs, real sector to drive economic impact. 2027, how Kwankwaso's defection to ADC will shape polls on page 5. Obi Kwankwaso's ticket mount. Ex-Kano governor resigns from NNPP. We are excited. Move will strengthen opposition, ADC. NNPP reacts. ADC working to adopt consensus option for 2027 presidential candidate. That's according to the spokesperson of the party, Bolaji Abdullahi. But you see, Juma, here's a real concern. The ADC now looks like it's, as we say in business, a saturated market. Because you have former Vice President Atiku Abubakar of the party, a man who many believe is the de facto owner of the party. And then you have people like Rotimi Chibika Amechi, you have Peter Obi, now Kwankwaso is coming to join them. So you are asking yourself, who will likely emerge the presidential candidate of the party? Because you have quite a number of
heavyweights
who are interested, exactly, in the presidential tickets. What would they do? Is it consensus, or are they going to have to vote? But Bolaji Abdullahi said, well, it's consensus. So if it's consensus, on what basis will a decision be reached as to who will be the flag bearer of the party for the presidential election, and who will that person likely be? Now, by some, if you like, analysis, it has to be Obi as the presidential candidate and Kwankwaso the running mate, because both of them are said to be formidable in their own right. As formidable as they may be, the question is former Vice President Atiku Abubakar and ADC just to watch? No, I'm curious now. You're not talking?
I'm curious also, but of course we know that what his ambition has always been.
Yeah.
He has been trying to be president. He has gone all out, and I think that was one of the reasons why he defected to the ADC. You know, of course we know what that would bring.
Right.
But at the same time, like I said, politicians are always when it comes to surprises, but let's just see. But I doubt very much that is just Jumai Reke Amantin just saying, I doubt very much if he's going to sit back and watch and allow Peter Obi and Kwankwaso go out and president and of course the running mate. But let's just see what this brings really. But like I said, 2027 is just around the corner, and with politicians you cannot tell. With politicians you cannot predict, and so we just have to watch and see. But I doubt very much in my mind that he would allow that.
Well, let's move away from Jumai's mind now and look at the last headline in the Punch newspaper for you. Here, it says at 74, nations move forced me to observe low-key birthday. That's Tinubu talking on page 9 of the Vanguard newspaper. All right, go read up those details and stay ahead of the news, everyone. Let's look at the next one here. It is the Nation newspaper.
And we do not have a lot of stories on the Nation newspaper. We have one, and it says, Tinubu, why my celebration is subdued. And if you're wondering why it's subdued, you have to flip over to page 6 to find out and get yourself a copy of the Nation newspaper and well abreast with that major news. Next, we have the Daily Sun.
All right, thank you, Jumai. I just sent the name mast. It says presidency ADC fights over birthday message. Political space narrowing, hardship insecurity worsened, says opposition party. Your message in bad taste, presidency. On page 26 is where you find all those details. APC governors consolidates grip on party machinery. APC governors consolidates grip on party machinery. Just one rider with that headline. It says, party may settle for consensus arrangements at next month primaries. So we have the primaries in April. PDP, Abdurrahman Ayahu others retain offices as Wike bloc holds convention amid legal battles. We must resist one party rule, Benga Hashim. 74th birthday, Tinubu reaffirms commitment to national prosperity. Donates salaries to new military personnel welfare fund. On page 26 is where you can read up those details. Palm Sunday, Christian Association of Nigeria tasks leaders on empathy, economic relief, urges Nigerians to not lose hope. On page, let's see that for you, 6 is where you find details. Please read up all of these details from these headlines on the Daily Sun newspaper today as Jumai walks us through the Guardian newspaper.
All right, now the Guardian newspaper, of course, the star story on the Guardian says ADC settles for consensus as PDP scouts for presidential candidate, and that's on page 6. And on page 4 it says Palm Sunday, Pope sues for global peace as CAN seeks relief for Nigerians. And on page 7 it says HIDA CSOs demand full disclosure of OPL 245 deal. And on page 7 it says Sirap flows Ebas over alleged 302 billion naira FAAC expenditure in rivers. And on page 4 it says Senate leader says National Assembly on track towards state police creation. Okay. And on page 6 it says terrorists are not prodigal sons, says Bishop as Coas orders relentless onslaught. Okay. And below that it says misconduct tunes great APC convention as 2027 rivalries begin. ASU lost 5 of 10 years to strike, says federal government. And that's on page 3. And on page 16 it says concerns as hot money continues to outstrip patient capital inflow. And basically, that's all the major headlines making round on the Guardian newspaper. Please go out and get yourself a copy. And we're well abreast with the issues making rounds. Next, we have the Al Jazeera.
The kicker here says defection fever. At last, Kwankwaso jilts APC, settles for ADC. Sounds like a love story. Three of the writers here say, resigns from NNPP, Kwankwasia movement direct members to follow Kwankwaso as NNPP distances itself from ex-Kano governor's defection to ADC. At 74, thanks for the love, prayers, says Tinubu in birthday message to Nigerians. Palm Sunday, Khan tasks leaders on empathy, economic relief. On page 8, World Health Organization urges health policies inclusion for refugees, migrants on page 2. NUMEA arrests 80-year-old grandpa with meth, others in Ekiti. 80-year-old grandpa.
Oh, wow.
Medically bombings. Experts blame intelligence congestion, call for reforms. Bank recapitalization. CPPE commends CBN, seeks stronger real sector lending. Tight security as PDP National Convention commenced in Abuja, of course, that was yesterday. FCT records 16,000 tuberculosis cases as treatment success hits 94%. That's quite, super impressive. Wassenjar tasks newly promoted directors on high standards of leadership. That's the head of service of the Federation there. All right, so those are all your headlines from the Al Jazeera newspaper this morning. Our last port of call is the New Telegraph.
All right, now the New Telegraph, and above the nameplate, it says here, birthday, Tinubu orders dedicated account for wounded dead soldiers. And it says here, donates personal salary since assuming office. Says his government determined to confront, overcome challenges as APC governors, others facilitate him. Use your birthday money to reflect on state of Nigeria. That's from the ADC. Okay. And 2027, we will recover our mandate from defected PDP governors, and that's from Wike, and that you will find on 3 and 7, as his fractions begins inclusive convention. And the next says, Bode George, he's no longer our member. APC's plot to use him to destroy PDP won't work. And then it says, full report, how Rivers under Ibas spent 302 billion naira in 6 months. Okay, and that's a lot. And it says capital importation, portfolio investments up 85% ahead. FDI, inflows, and that's on page 3. And basically, those are all the major headlines on the New Telegraph. Please go out and get yourself a copy, and we're well abreast the major issues making rounds. And that's the end of the newspaper review segment. Now, for us to note that Global Television has no input whatsoever on the editorial judgment of the papers. It was read to you as it was printed and how it is. And of course, Global Television has not added or subtracted to the newspaper review segment when it comes to reading the headlines. Up next is Social Buzz with Ogochukwu Mobono. It's still Global Morning. Stay tuned.
Bushtec Cables, we don't just make cables, we deliver excellence. Our products are built with advanced technology, trusted for their unmatched quality and durability. With a wide range of cables, swift delivery, and continuous innovation, we stay ahead of the market demand. We are proudly Nigerian, fully indigenous, yet world-class. Backed by a professional team, strong technical support, and a deep commitment to customer satisfaction. Bushtec Cables is more than a brand, it's a promise. Bushtec Cables, quality cables better than the best.
Our language, our vibrant culture and colorful tradition, our industrious and hospitable people. This is Nigeria, a nation that prides itself in abundant human and natural resources. From east to west, north to south, we sparkle, we shine, we have a common bond. Fellow Nigerians, let's do away with ethnic, religious and regional sentiments that divide us as a people. God has blessed us and empowered us to find strength in diversity. Let's make our faith and way of worship our source of unity as we build a nation that stays united. Nigeria, together today, together always. This is a public announcement brought to you by Global Television.
Happy birthday to you.
The Renewed Hope Network TRN, under the leadership of Senator Abdulaziz Yari, proudly facilitated with our President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, a visionary leader, a symbol of progress on the occasion of his 74th birthday, a man whose courage inspires hope, whose leadership drives transformation, whose vision is shaping a stronger Nigeria. Today, we honor your dedication, we salute your resilience, we salute your unwavering commitment to the Renewed Hope agenda. Happy birthday, Mr. President. May your years be filled with strength, wisdom, and greater achievements for our nation. Signed, the Renewed Hope Network, TRN, under the leadership of Senator Abdulaziz Yari.
Happy birthday to you.
Social media speaks, we listen, and we bring you the extra. It's your one-stop shop for trends, tweets, and the tea everyone's sipping on. Join the conversation, share your thoughts, and get that extra dose of what's shaking the internet.
And on issues making wave on social media to your doorstep.
Social Boss Extra, where the trend meets the talk, only on Global TV.
Good morning, Nigerians and viewers around the world. It's time to look at buzzing issues on social media, and today we're taking this one from marriage versus dating. A lady has sparked debate on when men should provide. A trending opinion on relationship is sparking a conversation online as a lady shares her perspective on financial responsibility between couples, drawing a clear line between dating and marriage. She stirred a debate after stating that a man should only take on the role of a provider once he becomes a husband, not during the dating stage. According to her, financial responsibilities should not be expected from a man while he is still a boyfriend or even a fiancé. She emphasized that at the stage, both individuals are still independent and should be able to cater for themselves. She further stressed that provision becomes a duty only within the context of marriage, where both partners are considered one. Her comment has since generated mixed reaction online, with many agreeing to her stand, while others argue that support should not be limited to only marriage. All right, let's take a look at that very short video.
A man only needs to provide for a woman when he is a husband, not a boyfriend, not a fiance. Woman, get out of the gutter. Get your head out of the gutter. Stop trying to make these boyfriends provide for you and take care of you when you can take care of yourself. You are not a wife. You guys are not one. You guys are not one. He has not chosen you to be his wife. You guys are not one. So you being there saying, oh, a man, I need a providing man. We all need a providing man. Our father told us that we all need a providing man, but not only a providing man, a providing husband, not a boyfriend again, and not a fiance again. And don't be like, oh, well, if he can't provide as a girlfriend, how he's going to provide? Because he's supposed to prepare himself as a husband. He's supposed to prepare himself to get there, to be that providing man. Not provide for you and you taking out of his pockets. If he want to help and get, and his heart wants to help you in any situation, any given situation, all right. But at the end of the day, a husband's supposed to provide for a woman. He's not supposed to provide for a girlfriend or fiance.
Okay, all right, that's a lot. Let's take some comments from social media as regards this, and let's hear what people think about this conversation. And the first comment is coming from Goody. Goody says, I support, let her parents handle their responsibilities, and women, close your legs till after he has married you. All right, thank you, Goody. Next comment is coming from Fresia Daisy says, I beg, shush, if he cannot show me that he can take care of me when we are not married yet, how am I sure that he will be able to shoulder responsibilities when we finally get married? Ladies, watch how he treats you when you are courting. Do not take those signs for granted. Thank you, Fresia Daisy. And the last but not the least, coming from Real Estate Queen Esther. And Queen Esther says, dear women, do play the role of a wife when you are not, okay, I think she meant to say, do not play the role of a wife when you're not married. No wifey duties, please. Work hard and make your own money. Do not make yourself a liability to a man. All right, thank you everyone who dropped their comments today for this particular topic. I'm not alone in the studio. I have with me Uyi Agbomofwebe. Good morning, Uyi.
Good morning, Ogochiko. As always, it's a delight to be here. Good to see you on a Monday morning.
Good to see you too. Okay, so while we're watching that video, you seem to be a bit excited. Why?
Oh, right.
What happened?
Well, I guess it got to me emotionally. You know, that was a lady saying he's not a man.
Okay.
I think that element was very core for me.
So some were calling her the pick me girl in the comment section. So
well, everybody's entitled to their opinions. So nobody say opinions are free, but facts are sacred. Right?
So what do you think? Are you on her side?
I'm not on her side. I'm on the side of facts.
Okay.
Yes, and responsibility. Okay. I mean, growing up, you hear our parents and even those, of course, who are very communal in Africa, those who are part of the team, so to speak, parenting us, guiding us, would say that, look, you've got to stay chaste until you're married. We say sex after marriage, not before marriage. All right? That is a principle, and that is the virtue that has always been taught. And then we try to stick with that. So you're dating a girl, for example, she says, look, we have to stay chaste until we're married. It's a question of whether the guy understands that, whether he wants to live by that principle or not. That is the core. Okay. Because it has to be within the context of marriage. Then you flip it to the other side and say, okay, the question now quite clearly is, should a man be financially responsible? Should he be the provider while he's dating? All right, and then you ask yourself, what is the context of the dating? Are we just boyfriend and girlfriend? Are we in courtship? Or like my former immediate boss would say, a relationship that leads to marriage? Is that what we are in? We must understand that first, because most times, it will interest you how most of us don't know we are in. We just know we are in something.
Okay.
Whatever it is, but we don't know what we are in. That reality is sad, it's painful, we don't want to admit it, but that's the fact. And that's why 3 years later, 2 years later, 18 months later, you're still asking, what are we here for? What are we doing here? Right, so if you miss it at the level of definition, it will be immature to now be discussing, should he be responsible for her or not? But again, let's put this in perspective real quick. And now, this is largely my opinion. If you're dating a girl, first of all, you must be mature enough to handle someone else's feelings. You must be mature enough to know that they have responsibilities, and you must know that you have a role to play in all that, no matter what that role may be. Again, it varies from one person to another, because circumstances are not the same for everybody. However, this is for young ladies, especially for the Gen Zs.
Okay.
You do not move your life, your responsibilities, all your commitments to a man because he's your boyfriend.
But they're not moving.
Because he's your. No, we're getting there. We're getting there.
Okay.
Because he's your fiancé, right? You must realize that there's a point where there's a line.
Okay.
Yes, many ladies, like we heard one of the comments, will say, "How do I know you can take care of me when he eventually marries me?" You may ask me for his bank account statement, see that's what you need. But here's the thing. Part of knowing him is to be sure that he has something legitimate he does that brings him money, that provides for him. What does he do? Does he have a handy work? Does he have a skill? Does he have education enough that can give him competitive job? You must have something he brings to the table to be able to make money legitimately. That must be established. However, beyond all of this, I think we're just scratching the surface, we're treating symptoms. How we are raised as men and women, or as boys and girls, is what matters. This conversation is essentially hinged on how people were raised. Otherwise, if people are raised right, you won't even be debating should a man provide for his fiancée. Do you understand what I'm saying? That's why we're having this conversation. And again, if people are responsible enough, you also know that there's a limit to which a man can do for you within that period of your dating or courtship. There's so much more he should do for you by way of obligation by the time he now marries you. But for young ladies who go about with the mentality of, I'm looking for a man that can take care of me, because that's where this problem starts from. A man that can take care of me. How do you define take care of you? What and what should he do for you to know that he can or cannot take care of you?
Okay.
I guess I've got to put the answer.
Okay, naturally, I think men are providers. And yes, it's a natural thing.
And they love to care for women, even when they are not dating or marrying them. Right?
Yes, they just love to care for the opposite sex, like they are providers. That's a natural thing. So if you're dating someone and you don't get to see this provider instinct, it's not showing. Yes, it just looks like, it feels like this person doesn't love me. Because if they love you, they will give. For God so loved the world that He gave. You as a man, I cannot date you and you don't take note of little things, my wants or my needs. You don't take note of those things.
The basics.
Yes, those basic things. I might not even ask you. I might not come to you to say, you know what, I need this, I need that. But you should be able to observe and know that, okay, I think my woman needs things like this. I think I should just surprise her. I think I should give her. That's alone makes you feel welcome. You feel like this is where you belong and all of that. So I feel not providing, I don't know the perspective she's coming from though, but if you're dating someone, you're not providing, you don't get to meet up, some things, I just feel like you don't know the person. You don't have any reason to date that person. Because naturally, you're supposed to be a provider.
All right. Well, I'm a provider.
Okay. You have to be a provider. You have a wife and children, so definitely you do your own part in the house. So that's just it. So any man who you're dating, I'm trying to advise women right now. So if you're dating a man and the man doesn't even take note of those little things you need, those basic things, and they're acting nonchalant, please, 2026, don't do nonchalant. Pack your slippers and make sure that you dust your feet.
That sounds like you trying to advise young ladies that when you start dating a man from the ground up, you need to find out if he's a member of the Stingy Men Association.
Yes, because we have some of them like that. They'll think, oh, I didn't know that you needed something, but do you have money there? Will invest like
especially those ones that graduated from Genge School or is it university or something?
University, we have a lot of them. They'll tell you I'm in Genge University and I have to take his advice. Don't provide for a woman. Please, if you have the means and you know you love your woman, your wife, your girlfriend, your fiancé, please provide if you can. But do not go the extreme.
Don't break a bank.
Yeah, don't break a bank. If she's asking you for iPhone 17, you cannot afford it, you are even still using an Android, please tell her, let's move within our means.
Don't go do pass yourself.
Thank you so much. All right, thank you so much, Uyi, for your contribution to today's topic. And that's the size of the conversation today, making waves on social media. What are your thoughts? Should financial responsibility begin during dating or after marriage? I am your host, Kumobna, and I'll be leaving you in the hands of Jumai and Uyi as they bring us into the discussion section of Global Morning. Bye for now.
When social media speaks, we listen and we bring you the extra. It's your one-stop shop for trends, tweets, and the tea everyone's sipping on. Join the conversation, share your thoughts, and get that extra dose of what's shaking the internet.
And on issues making wave on social media to your doorstep.
Social Boss Extra, where the trend meets the talk. only on Global TV.
Wake up with Global Morning, your daily guide to what's happening and making the rounds.
We delve into headlines, newspaper reviews, spot-on analysis, policies, current events, real talk, real issues that affect us all.
From the latest trends to the debates, every topic, every angle, Global Morning is where it all starts.
Global Morning,
For the latest issues,
always on point.
Watch Global Morning Monday to Friday at 7 a.m. Saturday and Sunday at 8 a.m. on Global Television.
In an age of breaking news, you need a trusted source that prioritizes accurate, factual, and unbiased reporting. This is AM News, and I am Ubong Usoro.
On Global Television, our news is rooted in verified and authoritative storytelling that keeps you educated, informed, and enlightened on all the issues that matter to you. I am Sadia Yakubu. This is Midday News.
You can trust a multi-platform news broadcast, real-time and fast-check stories for all the big local and foreign headlines round the clock. I am Ramsey Enoch Agbo. This is News Express.
Our array of anchors delivers the news to our teeming viewers, breaking it down with context and perspective. This is News Cycle on Global Television. I am Anieti Patrick.
And the flagship news is your hub for the day's most engaging stories. This is News Prime, and I am Jumai Manson.
Did you miss any of our news rounds? No worries. Catch up at 10 p.m. and midnight, 7 days of the week. I am Mukhtar Kasim.
Global TV is on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times channel 276. We're active across all social media platforms at Global TV NG.
Global TV News, accurate and unbiased. I'm Uyi Agmofwebe.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Really. You know, Rochukwu was talking a while ago about men, I mean, how whether or not men should actually be providers. Because there's a lady whose video we understand has gone viral now, as always, on the social media, talking about how that look, as a man, you are not the provider to a woman until you're married to her. You know, Juma, that debate has been here for a long time.
Yes, it has.
And it's the kind of debate that you'd love to jump on because you think men should be eternal providers.
No. I'm not of that notion. Funny enough, I'm a very
So what do you stand?
Well, I feel it's to give, and we both give. It doesn't have to solely lie on one person's shoulder because we're dating. I would not give you that sole responsibility because, of course, security is very important when it comes to this sort of thing. But at the same time, sole provider, no. You're not married yet. So just do what you can and
do what you can.
And I'm grateful.
No pressure.
I'm thankful. No pressure. Just do what you can. You don't have to break a bank. Just do what you can. Be kind, be empathetic, and at the same time, I know that, you know, there's two kinds of men. The ones that when they have, you actually know and go all out and they give you. The ones that they have and they hide it. Those are the ones that girls love to deal with. But I would say, you don't, be careful. I'm not on that table with you today.
No, come on. I still follow through what you said.
You know what? Yes, those are the type that girls love to deal with. The ones that will have so much and they will hide and all of that. So when they have and the girl knows, she just takes and takes and takes and takes, not even thinking about what tomorrow will bring, whether there's something gonna come out of this relationship. She just wants to take and leave. But there are some who, no pressure. Just give what you can, and we're good to go. But when you're married, you know that you are the so provider, but at the same time, she complements that and she brings also. So it's a give and take, give and take. Yeah, and everyone is happy. There's a balance.
I can imagine. Well, that's great to know. But let's turn to other issues now. This concern around out-of-school children, right? It looks like we're paying lip service at best to the topic of education, because at the end of the day, how do you explain that in a country where we claim that education is a top priority for us? We still have, from reports, so between 18.1 and 20 million children who are not in school. So we just generically refer to them as out-of-school children. Like you mentioned, finance could be one of the challenges.
Yes.
But how do you talk about access to education when you also cannot boast of average facilities at the schools available?
Exactly.
Right? In what areas? If you focus on the north, for example, where you have the bulk of these out-of-school children, especially the northeast, for instance, we all know how much insecurity has ravaged that part of that country. So how do you expect children to be able to go to schools in those areas? And they were asking, in light of the very debilitating adverse impact of insecurity, what are alternatives being created for children to be able to return to school? We're seeing Governor Zulum time and again go to the borders between Nigeria and Niger Republic, saying that, look, we are bringing back our people, we want to resettle them. Amazing humanitarian idea.
Yes.
But then again, how realistic is it when we have heard time and again too that these bandits, these insurgents keep coming back to attack these people who are doing their business, minding their business in their communities time and again. So for an insurgency that has lasted for this long, we're looking at some 16, 17 years, how do you help children go to school or resettle in schools? And then you now look at issues around incentives. Is education attractive? Do we make it, is it incentivized enough at the primary or basic level? What is the reason an average parent will want to send their child to primary school, especially the public primary schools? We must ask ourselves these questions. And then, like you mentioned, we now look at issues around budgeting.
Yes.
How much do we budget for education every other year? As a matter of fact, what is the budgetary proposition for 2026? How does that stack up against the average across the world, or the recommendation by UNESCO, which says that it should be 26%? And every time I talk about this, I always mention that, look, there are people, especially politicians, who say that, well, UNESCO is not the owner of Nigeria. They cannot tell Nigeria what to exactly which, of course, we agree. But what UNESCO is simply doing is to say that no matter what you decide to budget, that's your prerogative. It's got to be such that it's substantial enough to drive education in light of where the world is heading.
Yes.
Especially in this day and age when we're talking about science, technology, engineering, and math.
Exactly.
How are you driving that narrative? How much are you investing in terms of both human and capital resources? I think those are the conversations we are not having really.
Yes, we are not having that conversation. We've not hit that conversation on the head when it comes to hitting the nail on the head. And for as much as I always say when we talk about health, let's just diversify a bit. I always talk about health, what the doctors are doing, the doctors are on strike, and then we talk about, I said there are some major sectors that affect you and I directly, and education is one of them. And we do not understand that the world is evolving. So when we say insecurity is a niche on education, I feel we've not done enough when it comes to that aspect of education, because the world has evolved, technology, science, but they are here. So what have we done when it says, and these are children, are the future generations, they are the leaders of tomorrow, and yet we do not have a group when it comes to turning around that particular sector for a better outcome. When it comes to technology has come to stay. The world has evolved. There's so many ways to reduce that number of out-of-school children. We might not nip it in the bud completely, but we can actually try to drive home that front, and which we have not. We don't talk about it as much as we should. And UNESCO is not saying anything more than what we're talking about now. How well have you driven this front to our children? And it's just unfortunate that we are still in one place. You know, when a tech person was here on Global Morning, I said, are we ready for this conversation? Nigerians, are we really ready? And he says, my truth be told, we are not, because we've not gone all out. Most countries have gone far than where we are. We're just we're just there. And countries have gone far above when it comes to technology, science, and math. And that will play a key role in reducing this number. It is high, only. And when you have these numbers of out-of-school children, you can imagine what the criminal rate will look like. Education is not attractive anymore. You see a lot of people that they want to go into comedic world, they want to do other things, Yahoo, will I say cyber? Internet fraud. Those are the attraction now. We don't look at these aspects. It's just unfortunate that our most children who are out of school because of these basic lacuna, they find criminality like the toll prize, and then they involve themselves in that. It's just unfortunate that we've not done enough when it comes to this aspect, and I think it takes you and I, and it takes, we have a big role to play when it comes to this, but it's unfortunate that this is where we are. We're still there. We've not moved from this particular conversation, and the world has evolved really, really seriously.
And that's quite sad, if you ask me. I mean, you talked about the issue about how that the world has evolved.
It has.
You seem to be playing catch-up.
Exactly.
Sort of, friends. You don't play catch-up in this kind of situation.
No, you don't.
Where everybody's bringing in their best. There are several models you can learn from, right? At a point, Nigerians were even going from here to go enjoy scholarship, especially at master's degree level, across the Scandinavia, from Sweden to Denmark,
Canada,
Finland, and everywhere.
Yeah.
It is because those guys have been able to, over several years, invest in their education system. That's why we do that. At a point, Canada will tell you, if you do your PhD here with us, you have the chance of remaining in this country. And you just jump at those opportunities. They embrace those opportunities. But can we boast of the same? I may be relatively young, but I can tell you very categorically from my conscience that I know I was young enough at the point I was in primary school. I would see people we used to call Oyibo people. They were in the University of Benin as undergraduates.
Even in UNIMAID at that point.
We had the system, right? They were here. In fact, we had lecturers from places like India, from the United Kingdom. I used to know a particular Professor Sharma from India. He was in engineering in the University of Benin. I was a very small boy. My mom used to take me by hand. I'm saying all of this to say that it once worked. We had students in School of Medicine in Yoruba from across West Africa and beyond. They were studying medicine in our country. All right, so the question perhaps is, what has changed between then and now? I don't know really. And nobody's taking responsibility. Nobody's being held accountable. Nobody's asking the questions as to what we've missed, how we've missed those things, and what efforts can be made within a specific period to be able to get ourselves back on track. Because if you look at education, the way it works is such that it has to be progressive. It has to align with the reality of the day. It's not a question of as we used to do it in 1975. No. It's a question of where is the world today? How does the world think today? I remember in 2006, we had this engineer who came to check out our servers at the Solar Cafe. Then, of course, internet was not as ubiquitous as it is today. So he shows up and he says, I need to buy a couple of items. Where can I find an ATM terminal? This was in 2006. ATM terminals were not very many in Nigeria. So you would boast of terminals in places like Lagos, maybe Port Harcourt, a few other places. But where I was in Benin at the time, there was no single terminal around us. The only one that was available was probably in an area that was far-flung. Now, what's the point? 20 years down the line, we have ATM terminals all over the place, which means that Nigeria's banking sector realizes that we can't afford to play catch-up because that is the minimum standard across the world. You've got to have terminals available everywhere. At the point we started seeing ATM terminals in hotels, in shopping malls,
airports,
eateries, of course, airports and everywhere else. Can we not replicate the same with education? You go to, say, the telecom sector. You see what they're trying to do as well. All the operators, just the way you have in Europe, in America, and everywhere else, where development happens real time. In the case of education, I may be wrong, but the sense of it that I have is that we are deliberately ignoring that sector, really. We are deliberately ignoring that sector. That's the reason we realize that Nigerians would struggle to bag a bachelor's degree here. The same Nigerians will bag bachelor's and master's degrees abroad with relative ease. I dare to say super ease. Not because the system here, not because they are not smart, but the system here has a way of making it unnecessarily difficult. I've mentioned at least once on live television how that I have a friend, somebody I respect a lot. His younger sister, schooled in Nigeria, did have bachelor's degree in Nigeria in a state-owned university. She studied computer science and made 2-2, as we call it, second-class lower division, right? And then she finishes, while she was serving, she got married, and then her husband comes and takes her away to Dublin. She gets to Dublin and decides that, look, I am not very impressed with my undergraduate degree. I want to do another bachelor's degree. But this time I want to do something around telecoms. She goes back to school, and then she earns a degree in telecoms, and she makes first class. Real life story. I mean, this is a family I know. I go to their house.
Excuse me.
Right? So I'm asking myself now, this is a story I was told more than 15 years ago. I'm asking myself now, what exactly makes the difference? How does somebody make 2-1 in Nigeria?
System.
He goes to Europe and then makes first class in a field that is even more, because telecoms is far more complicated, so to say, all right? Or complex, I should say, than computer science. So how will happen? Like you mentioned, is the system.
Yeah.
So how are we reworking or re-engineering the system to deliver optimal results for Nigeria? We must continue to ask ourselves. Have you noticed, Juma, that UK universities all over Nigeria now, they have representatives across this country. They are holding events virtually every other week. We go to the internet, whether it's Facebook or X or everywhere else, you'll see their ads just flying everywhere. Because they realize that not just Africa, but Nigeria in particular, is a big market.
Yes, we are.
If you look at the numbers in terms of how much we invest funding education for our children in UK, you'll be shocked. In fact, once they review their policy and make it a little harder for Nigerians to come over for education, for higher education, you see that what we realize through foreign education drops or plummets very significantly because it is Nigeria and by extension Africans that bring the most funding into that country.
Of course.
Let's not even go too far. Go to Ghana, for example. Go to countries like Benin Republic, go to Togo and see how much Nigerian parents and guardians spend in funding higher education for their children in those countries. You keep asking yourself, who, as I say, Pigeon, who do us like this?
And that's it. Like I said, we have a lot, and I think we have to stop this our uncouth behavior when it comes to this particular issue of education. We're very lackadaisical. We just talk about it. You mentioned something about lip service. We say it, we'll bring it to the table, we'll drag it. Oh, we have to do this, we have to do that. You know, and yet there is nothing that is being done about it. We've not evolved. We're just there. We're just in one place. It's just the same old, same old.
Right.
And it's just unfortunate that this is what it is. But we have a lot to do when it comes to that. I think we should go back to the drawing board, look at what other nations of the world and what they are doing differently and how we can imbibe that. And you know, the tech guy said when you go outside the country, anything that has to do with tech, you must find a Nigerian there. They are the ones spearheading that particular department because, hey, we have all it takes, but the individuals, I won't say leaders because we keep saying we blame the government for everything, which is wrong, by the way. But at the same time, individuals who are there, who were given this task to actually spearhead when it comes to the educational sector, and those on what are you doing? Have you thought outside the box? Have you wondered to yourself that we are in the same position? We've not moved forward, we've not moved backward, we're just stuck in the middle. And it's just unfortunate this is what it is. But unfortunately, the numbers for out-of-school children, it's highly and it is alarming and it's a problem. It shows the rate of poverty in a nation once education, that gap of education is bridged. It's just unfortunate. Really.
Right, it is. Well, there's so much to talk about education, but we must realize as a country, there's next to nothing we can achieve, or at least we can't achieve much if we don't get it right in that sector. We're taking a break. When we return, we'll remind you that today is International Day of Zero Waste. What does it mean, really? It's, a commemoration that was introduced, so to speak, in 2023 by the United Nations. And this year's theme focuses on food waste. I'm going to put you on the spotlight when we return to this break. Please. The International Day of Zero Waste, celebrated annually on March 30, established in 2023, promotes sustainable consumption, production, and proper waste management, led by the United Nations Environmental Programme and UN Habitats. This day calls on governments, communities, and businesses to advance the 2030 agenda by fostering circular economies, reducing environmental pollution, as well as tackling the global waste crisis. You know, the fact of the matter is...
are you putting me on the spot?
No, I've had everything. I've forgiven you. But aside from it, it's because we don't take waste management very seriously.
Okay.
Right, for reasons that are against systemic, right? I interviewed a professor of economics one time, several years ago, on a different platform. At that time, he was a member of the CBN Monetary Policy Committee, under former late President Buhari. We're talking about systemic issues, what makes Nigeria different from many of these advanced economies and what have you. And he said, look, I live in Nigeria and the United Kingdom. He said in the UK, when I stack up wastes, I already know without being told that the dry waste should be in one waste bag. The wet one, like foodstuff and all that, will be in another
recycling
waste bag, exactly.
Okay.
And then he says something striking. He says when the waste managers come and they realize that I've mixed everything, I didn't separate them, they will take my wastes. And if they don't take my waste, there's penalty for that. Again, that is systemic. So everybody knows by default that you've got to separate your waste. So you can't carry the swallow you didn't finish at dinner time yesterday and add it to maybe the pack of popcorn that you thought was not properly made. So what's the point here? Is to say that even the bottles, the expended bottles from water and all of those drinks and stuff, they are separate. All the cans, they're separate. But in Nigeria, we don't have that sort of system. In some areas, they tell you the waste managers have not been here for the 4th month running.
True.
So you're asking yourself, why are the waste managers not coming? Is it possible because the residents are not paying their dues? Is it possible the waste manager is being irresponsible? Is it possible they are also now victims of the same systemic problems? What exactly is happening? I've had a situation, for example, in 2022, where I had my own fallout with the waste manager. I had to go to the office. Incidentally, the waste manager, the general manager of the waste management outfits, one of those outfits that the government had already endorsed and approved to manage wastes on his behalf across the city, happened to be a senior lecturer in a university, but he was having this by the side. I wanted to ask questions as to why are you not coming to my street and in particular my house to pick waste? You know, the man said plenty of things. As a matter of fact, he even brought police to arrest me and all.
Really?
But again, this was not about it was not about me. It was about the fact that we needed to have our waste evacuated.
A job needed to be done.
Exactly, right? But what I came to also realize is there are people who do not pay. And if you don't pay, the waste will not be taken. But then you're asking, how much of commitment does the Ministry of Environment, whether it's at the state level or at the national level, put into all of this? Because you see, Jonah, if you do not build systems around these things, If it just be you and I talking here every time about these issues,
exactly,
that will not go very far compared to we have boots on the ground, people who are doing the job, understanding what their mandate is, and then you have the leadership to help drive that initiative. Because at the end of the day, whether you like it or not, how we manage waste is a factor, whether you call it pollution, whether you call it dirty fuel or fossil fuel. We must learn how to manage waste. One time, one of our correspondents, Ubokso, had to go to Gwarimpa to do a report on how, you have these stacks of waste all over the place. And if you look at Gwarimpa is not a village, but how do we come to that point where you now have waste stacking up at different points? And Gwarimpa is very along that very shameful category. You have different other areas across FCC.
Asokoro.
Exactly. So how do we explain that sort of culture? You go to our open markets, you have to clog your nostrils for the markets because you can't breathe. You cannot. And then we want to fight diseases. How possible? You are the TV doctor.
This is a TV doctor. Yeah. But you really okay. 1-0.
All right.
Okay.
Try not to even up.
But looking at it, it's a serious matter.
Right.
And of course, do we as Nigerians, do we really understand first? We cannot just come out and say the waste management people are not picking up our debts because we've not paid. Do we know the channels where we pay these monies to? Have we been enlightened to know why it's important we pay these monies so that we can get service or value for our money? It's another thing. Like if you ask someone now, do you know the channel to pay to? They'll tell you they do not know. Because they've not been, it hasn't been explained to them. There's a particular platform and then they keep going up and down, dilly-dally when it comes to these issues. But it's very important that these aspects, when it comes to the environment, you need the awareness. Because for as much as global warming, it's something that is real. Climate change is real and it has come to stay. And these are the sort of things that can be hazardous if we do not nip it in the bud as soon as possible. And you go to places like Utako Market. Have you been to Utako Market? My favorite part where you buy plantains at the back with the tomatoes and all of that. There's a heap of dirt there. My customers, and then it's there. You cannot breathe when you are there. And it's just unfortunate this is what it is. And you wonder these waste management individuals, when they come in with their trucks, you see some of the dirt actually falling off their trucks. I've seen that it's full and you see that a lot needs to be done when it comes to this aspect. And we need individuals to actually monitor and know that most people are just there, but they're not doing their work, or will I say their jobs. And we need to put that in cognizance. It's just unfortunate this is what it is. And I think we need to do more when it comes to this issue of waste management. We need to do more. Individuals need to do more who are designated to these particular areas when it comes to waste and when it comes to estates, around the streets, the roads. A lot needs to be done. And I think the awareness to that is very minimal. It's very small. We don't get to hear that all the time. We just know that it's important. We leave the debts are there. Their debts are there for months, and you'll be shocked. It keeps piling and piling and piling, and it's just there. But it's just unfortunate that a lot needs to be done, because if we do not nip this in the bud, yes, you're right about diseases. Yes, it does cause diseases, malaria. It causes a lot of diseases in the body, and we need. There's a lot that needs to be done. And I'm glad that United Nations actually recognizes that this is a major factor in the human life. Waste management. We have to know how to balance it. And it's unfortunate that we do not recycle in our country. People don't really understand how big that is. When you go outside the country, recycling, it's very important, like you said. It's very important. When you differentiate dry from the wet, very important. You can actually reuse it again. But we do not have that awareness, and most people do not. Some do, but some do not. I think a lot needs to be done when it comes to that aspect.
Just like you are brilliantly said, Jumai, in 2026, the focus is really on reducing food waste in particular, right? Because now the UN is reporting that 1/5 of food available to consumers, all of us in the world, is wasted, all right? Which means 20%. So you can imagine in a world where you don't have enough food, where people practically have to beg to eat in many parts of the world, and people are wasting food. So it's quite concerning, right? Because if you have people in millions, perhaps hundreds of millions, maybe even up to a billion, who can't boast of one meal a day, and then you have those who are wasting 20% of what they do have, then it's a real problem. I remember one time I was eating in an office canteen, and then my boss, as it then was, saw me finish my food, then I flipped the spoon. Apparently I finished everything up to the last grain. He said, "You just ate the way my wife likes it. My wife does not like waste." You see, we must encourage that culture. We must find a way to encourage it. We must build systems around it where people don't just eat because they are in the mood to eat. People must eat out of necessity. You don't just eat and then food is dished for you. You can't finish the portion. We say, okay, well, what do we do now? Go and trash. What do we do? Go and trash. And then I think there's also this mentality that it's a sign of being rich or being wealthy. You have to trash food. I don't understand how. Are you kidding me? You can't finish food that you wasted. I've seen homes where what they do they refrigerate.
Yes.
Preserve.
And you rejuvenate the next day.
When I was growing up, what most parents would do is, worst case scenario, your mom will eat the food just to ensure it didn't waste. Or will ask your cousins, will ask your siblings if anybody wanted the food. But the idea was this food can never ever waste. In some homes, their own mechanism is they say, okay, well, what we do is we make as much as we can eat per meal. Exactly. So what we can finish for breakfast is what we make. There's no such thing as a spillover or remnant or leftover. If we are going to have, let's say, egg and yam sauce, all right, for dinner, we're not going to have one slice of yam left for tomorrow. We'll finish everything tonight. In some of that, what they do is they make as much as will last for a week or two, they refrigerate. But they still ensure in the final analysis, nothing goes to waste. Because whether you like it or not, Juma, there's so much of economic factor in this conversation.
Yes, exactly.
If you waste 20% of the food you have, it means you have wasted 20% of your money, ultimately, whatever that may be. So imagine if it's a home where you spend as much as, depending on the size of the home, maybe $500,000 to get food items for 1 month, and then you have to waste 20%. It simply means that you have wasted at least 100,000, which is someone's salary somewhere.
Yes, it is, and that is why the white people call it leftovers. Because hey, hello, when you have lots of food that you have to, the mean, let me use that word, when you have to, let's say there's mashed potatoes or this, they put it in the fridge, and there's a particular day where they bring all of these leftovers and you eat it for dinner. Whether it's the mashed potatoes, whether it's the grilled peas or whatever, or let me use Nigerian food, whether it's jollof rice or it's the fried rice or it's the coleslaw, you just complement it a bit and you eat it. And the world would be a happy place. Is it in this economy that you want to waste food? You don't even go there. When you said it, I was just looking at you. In this economy where there is inflation when it comes to food, no one is thinking that. But of course, those are the numbers. And I think we need to do more. We need to understand that waste is bad. There are a lot of people out there who cannot even afford this. I tell people, if you have food and it's in excess, please just don't give it to anyone because you feel, okay, it's left over. There's a way you can actually package that food nicely, warm it up nicely, put it in an amazing, and give it to someone who needs it. There are people who will not even mind. It's just unfortunate that this is what it is, but at the same time, we have a lot to do when it comes to that arena.
The issue of food waste.
Of course, yes. We need to. But you look at it again, let's deviate again. Power. How can I even preserve? What's the guarantee? How can I even preserve food only? Power. There's no power. I mean, of course, now I know the weather will change soon, but the heat period where you make soup and you just leave it out there, next thing you know, it goes bad immediately. So there's a lot we have to put in place. I think I like the method of just cook what you can finish at that point. I know you're done and then you move to the
I'm all up for that method.
I'm up for that method too, okay? But at the same time, sometimes you cannot help it. They will be leftovers. But how do you preserve and what do you do without throwing it in the bin? And that's why I love white rice. White rice, you can always rejuvenated jollof rice and the rest, and at the same time you just move forward from that. But there's a lot that we need to do in educating and enlightening people why it's bad to waste. And some people feel, like you said, it's to show that the individual is wealthy. Please, it's not.
It in abundance.
We have no. It's so wrong. Even if you have it in abundance, do not waste it. I don't think God will even be happy with that. Why would you waste such food when you know that the next person or the people out there cannot even afford 3 square meals in a day or 1 meal in a day, and then you go ahead and you waste because you want to prove a point of you have it in abundance? It doesn't make sense.
Quite interesting. Well, we hope we continue to imbibe the culture of ensuring that we take these reality very seriously, because as it stands today, there is shortage, very acute shortage in terms of
which is
Japanese food. Again, for the most part of insecurity. We're talking about food basket of the nation. We're talking about Sokoto or any part of the country where we know food comes in humongous quantity. Insecurity will allow people to go to farms. So we must now learn to cut our coats according to our cloth, because you don't have as much food now as you used to do some years ago.
Very true.
So why should you be wasting 20% of the limited food resources or food items that you have? And again, we've not heard about bag of rice, the price of bag of rice recently.
We need to find out quickly.
We're hearing that it has shot up a little recently.
Yes, it has.
Well, so again, that's another reason you don't want to leave anything to chance when it comes to preserving food, ensuring that you leave nothing to waste. I'm also thinking, Juma, is it not possible that we waste more food now because we are becoming less and less communal by the day? Because I remember back in the day, your siblings, your cousins, all of you will gather and eat together. So there was hardly any chance to waste. In fact, there would be requests for more. Some sort of encore, as they say. All right. But now it's a question of they serve you in one dish, they serve you that guy, the lady in one dish. You eat midway, you realize you can't finish it, you abandon the dish, the food there, and then the next thing is we take it to the sink, we trash the food, we do the dishes, the cycle continues. I think that reality of today, that we are not as communal as we used to be, is also a factor, because my people say that when you share food with people, you also share your burden with them. But it appears we're not buying that philosophy.
No, we're not. The world has evolved, please, and everyone wants to eat on their own. Eat on your own, I eat on my own. Are you kidding me right now? So you know how it was back in the day, how people scrapple and people use that as our parents back in the day, or kids growing up, to tell you, to encourage bonding, and to tell you that, okay, you guys are having it in abundance now. Back in the day, eat the small bit, everybody, you have to, every man for himself, which was fun, by the way. They tell, when you hear this story, you just wonder, oh, that was how it was. But at the same time, the world is evolving. The world, it's a fast-pacing world. But for as much as it's a fast-pacing world, we have to still reflect. It's a form of reflection, by the way, and we shouldn't do much more or do less than what we do. It's just unfortunate that people waste food, and it's wrong. I'm not in support. I think there's more we can do in that area to prevent all of that, so we can move forward. There are better ways. Now that the US are going to buy half of our oil, so everyone has to really tighten their seatbelts and know that let's see. I'm positive individual. Let's see what it brings, and let's see. But we do not hope for the worst. But let's hope that there's always light at the end of the tunnel. But I don't think food at this point, wasting food at this point, I think it's far from it when it comes to Nigerians with the high rates of inflation when it comes to food.
Please, if you don't have a belt, use a twine. But you just have to tighten things up. All right. But that's the thing. Just to say that we need to rethink how we, if you like, deploy resources now, because times are not just changing, they have changed, quite frankly, and we see those changes in different sectors of our national and individual lives. We're taking a break. When we return, so much to talk about, including political leadership in our dear country, Nigeria, and of course 2027. Do stay with us, everyone.
Wake up with Global Morning, your daily guide to what's happening and making the rounds.
We delve into headlines, newspaper reviews, spot-on analysis, policies, current events, real talk, real issues that affect us all.
From the latest trends to the debates, every topic, every angle, Global Morning is where it all starts.
Global Morning,
For the latest issues,
always on point.
Watch Global Morning Monday to Friday at 7 a.m. Saturday and Sunday at 8 a.m. on Global Television.
Our language, our vibrant culture and colorful tradition, our industrious and hospitable people. This is Nigeria, a nation that prides itself in abundant human and natural resources. From east to west, north to south, we sparkle, we shine, we have a common bond. Fellow Nigerians, let's do away with ethnic, religious and regional sentiments that divide us as a people. God has blessed us and empowered us to find strength in diversity. Let's make our faith and way of worship our source of unity as we build our nation that stays united. Nigeria, together today, together always. This is a public announcement brought to you by Global Television. Wake up with Global Morning, your daily guide to what's happening and making the rounds.
we delve into headlines, newspaper reviews, spot-on analysis, policies, current events, real talk, real issues that affect us all.
From the latest trends to the debates, every topic, every angle, Global Morning is where it all starts.
Global Morning,
For the latest issues,
always on point.
Watch Global Morning Monday to Friday at 7 a.m. Saturday and Sunday at 8 a.m. on Global Television.
All right, let's highlight some of those issues, if you like, moments from yesterday's PDP National Convention. Well, some people say it wasn't a convention, really, because they see it more like some sort of a big event, like a social gathering, all right, to celebrate sort of a carnival because of the colorful settings in which the event held. But then again, it is what it is now. The party has elected its leaders, and going forward, that will matter today and tomorrow. However, we've seen quite a number of the leaders of the party talking, speaking to some of the issues around the developments within the PDP. For example, former governor of Ekiti State, Ayodele Fayose, said two very striking things. One, he said that Wike, that is Minister of the FCT, is the leader of the PDP and there's no other way to it. Second, he mentioned that Seyi Makinde, all right, is a son of perdition, which again is very concerning because Seyi Makinde and Nyesom Wike have been friends, or at least they've been political allies the whole time. We saw that. But now they're falling out of love, so to speak.
Are you kidding me?
Well, but it's a one big family.
Yes.
Love is a very central attribute in the family. So, but as said, they don't see eye to eye now politically, Makinde and Wike, all right? And then, of course, people who are on the Wike side also believe that Makinde can be a friend of theirs because you can't be my friend's enemy and expect that you can be my friend. Right? Whether that is going to change between now and election day 2027, we can't tell. We've also seen people like former Jigawa State Governor Solo Lamido saying that Wike is our leader and there's nothing you can do about that, right? But the question now is, where does that leave the other members of the PDP? Because if you have even people like Saraki, I mean, one you would have thought will align with the Toraki-led faction, align with people like, if you like, Seyi Makinde, now joining Wike, attending. Because when I saw a sort of billboard there with a picture of Senator Saraki, I told myself, hold on a second, is he part of this team? And really, the man showed up in the evening. He gave a speech, of course, former governor of Kwara State, former president of the Senate, and a founding member of the PDP and things like that. So the PDP is split now, quite frankly, in such a way that you are not so sure who is going to wake up tomorrow morning and say, no, I'm tired of this fight and let's align. I spoke briefly a while ago with a former commissioner in Edo State, who is a member of the PDP, still in the PDP. He says that very serious frantic efforts are ongoing to reconcile aggrieved parties. And I said he's not even available to speak to some of these issues because it will be dishonoring for the key leaders who are involved in these talks. So who knows, Jumai? It's possible that the other factions are saying that, look, we may not agree on everything, but can we not just manage our differences going into the election proper? Which again also aligns with what Wike said, that look, the fact that we have differences should not stop our convention.
Exactly.
We can continue to negotiate even after the convention. That's where the party probably is at this point in time.
And just to mention to what I think that's a step in the right direction. Doesn't matter what fractions they have. Let's just move forward in line with the party, which is interest of both individuals. Now, you were there at the convention yesterday. So what was the key outcome of the PDP National Convention?
All right. So I know the convention grounds at about 5. Of course, convention proper started at about 7, and Nyesom Wike came between that time, between 7 and 8 o'clock. And incidentally, our political correspondent, Ubongo Soro, was on the ground the whole time till the end of the convention. And I was here hosting the talk in his stead. And what I realized from the clues he sent in, from the interviews he conducted, from the feedback that he shared, it was very clear that the PDP is still a very strong party. How strong it is in specifics, we may not be able to put a handle on. For example, the velodrome, and indeed that entire space was filled to capacity.
Really?
It was a spillover, yes. As when I was leaving, the place was already so full that security men at multiple entrances had a hectic time trying to control the crowds. Of course, you had to be accredited to get access and things like that. So the place was packed full. in terms of attendance. Then in terms of the caliber of people who attended, I mean, you could tell that Wike has supporters within the fold of the party. Of course, you guys know that everybody agrees with him, but he does have supporters within the fold of the party. And what I've now realized at the end of this convention is that Wike is not just the national leader of the party as a figurehead. He is the de facto leader of the party. And I'll tell you why.
Right.
This is a very practical. Because whether you like it or not, it's not so much about people who keep saying we founded this party, we started this party in 1998, we started it in Jumai's living room, it was Juma that made plantain and beans for all that evening. Really? Those things may, well, you were not there actually. Those things may be historically relevant. But the question is, how are we driving leadership within the party as of today? Who are those who have believed in the party through every thick and thin? Who are those who have stuck with the party when all hope was lost? Who are those who came through for the party when it looks like it won't see
the light of day?
Right, so those are the questions that are now being asked. And the earlier answers are provided, the better. And for many people, the answers are always pointing towards one man. Again, towards one man.
Exactly.
And that man happens to be Nyesom Wike. So, Nyesom Wike is now saying to the other members of the party, literally and otherwise, that look, if we must make progress, you've got to align with me. And you remember, when the PDP was planning their convention in Oyo State, Ibadan last year, remember, which of course the court has now said was null and void, he said, if you want to hold any convention or any kind of events in the name of this party on behalf of the PDP, you have to come talk to us. He said that last year, and that's exactly where we are right now. I can assure you, Juma, I mean, this may be an uncomfortable truth, but it's still the truth. There are people who are with Wike now in this faction, who were even at the convention yesterday, who spoke at the convention, who do not agree with Wike on everything, which is normal. We also do not agree with our siblings on everything.
Exactly.
But they realize that our party must survive. Our party must be led. Our party must have leadership. Our party must be strong.
We have more leverage in our party.
Yes. And how do we achieve all of this if we keep fighting? Because at some point, I mean, we will all agree that the fight is about ego. Most of these guys are not fighting because they love the party, because they want to see the party survive or do well. They are fighting out of ego. And Juma, I can tell you from experience that the things that people do out of ego don't always serve the overall interest of everybody, because it is always about them. And by the time you have that sort of situation, it means that PDP will continue to fight. And if PDP has continued this fighting, I can almost assure you authoritatively that PDP will have gone into 2027 with either one leg or the leg.
I completely agree. Now, since you were with us, I'm going to focus and ask you these questions.
Not as a member of the party.
Not as a member of the party, but good as a rep of Global Television. Now, what criteria do you think was used to select the NWC members of the People Democratic Party?
I like the fact that you said select, right? It was more selection.
Yes, yeah, of course.
They have an arrangement for delegates to vote, and some delegates of them, front attacks, and of course. You see, when you then look, yes, you may vote for other offices. But you see this national chairman thing, you see this national secretary thing, where you have Abdul Rahman and Senator Ayaw respectively. It is cast in Dangote concrete already. These are, we're not voting, we're not debating, no town hall meeting. We're done and dusted, it's in the bag. That's what they did, all of those, all right? And come to think of it, the 2026 Electoral Act actually prescribes that. So if you don't want to do the election, you can do consensus. So they did consensus. APC did 100% consensus. And APC made clear right from day one to say, look, we are adopting the consensus model. And that's what they did. So political parties now have that latitude to decide within the framework of the Electoral Act 2026 what method they are going to use in determining those who will lead. But July, it is not rule yet. Primaries are still ahead. PDP will need to do primaries. APC will need to do primaries. ADC will need to do primaries. All the political parties that are serious about their lives and want to go into election in 2027 must conduct primaries. So that's what you are going to see again, especially in the case of the PDP, another round of power play. Because whether you like it or not, there are people who are going to have to align and realign, because at that point in time, there are those you want to see clench the tickets to become governors. There are those who want to see go to House of Assembly, National Assembly, whether Senate or House of Reps and things like that. So this drama is going to be in series. So you're just seeing, what's it called again? Season 1, episode 1.
Season 1, episode 1. Right. Now, being there, in your own opinion, now, how do you think Nyesom Wike, that's the FCT minister, influence the leadership of the party in the nearest future?
You see, what Wike is doing today is even more futuristic than it is about the present. I don't know who trained Wike, but it appears the man has this sort of profound foresight. Sadly so, because I don't know how Wike is able to see certain things that are going to happen in the future within the party that the fathers of the party either didn't see or did see but overlooked. I don't know how he's been able to do that, right? Wike puts in the work more than he talks, right? And that's a lesson we must all learn. That it's not about who talks more or who talks longest. It's about who does the work. It also means that you can be silent and bringing value and making impact, and your results are speaking for you. Talk.
Exactly.
If you look at it, what has he done really? Wike is the guy who comes and he says to you, I made all of you. And you have gentlemen in their numbers, tens of them, hundreds of them. And nobody can say otherwise, because really, in the sense, he made them. And he tells you, so look, when you will go to House of Assembly, I will about all of you, I bought from more than 30 of you. When you are going to, you may say he's being manipulative, but is it not the way politics is played in Nigeria?
Exactly.
In most parts of the world, right? And that's why I realize that most people can point accusing figures at him for a very long time, because they also know that if tables were to turn and they were to be in Wike's position, they would do the same exact thing that the man is doing, if not even worse. So who calls the shots? Who determines the rules? Who sets the rules? Those are some of the questions. So for Wike, what he's doing right now is not just to influence immediate outcomes. It is to continue to control the direction of that influence going into the future. Wike ultimately wants to, if he had his way, all things equal, to become, if you like, the poster boy of Nigerian politics, not just PDP, right? And he has started from the opposition front. Now, whatever Wike is doing today, let's be very clear and honest with ourselves, didn't start today. We saw Wike's stance in the 8 years of late former President Muhammadu Buhari in office. His stance was very clear. You couldn't second guess it. He was very concrete on where he stood regarding national issues as far as those 8 years were concerned. He never defected. He has still not defected. It takes a lot of courage to do that. People have said Wike is the guy who is wired in such a way that when he is angry with you, you know. When he is happy with you, you know. When he is impressed with you, you can't miss it. And for many people, it's a rare kind of characteristic in Nigerian politics, because what we find most times with the typical Nigerian politicians is that when they want you to head in this direction, they actually go in this direction. But Wike is the guy who shoots straight and he lets you know this is what it is. And he's the guy who tells you agreement is what? Agreement. Right? So for a man like that, you need to be open-minded when you assess him.
Exactly.
Don't close your mind, don't come with a mindset, a fixed mindset, and don't try to fight him, try to understand him. I think one of the problems most of the leaders of the party, the PDP have had, is that they have been more obsessed with fighting Wike rather than even understand the man they're fighting. And because you don't understand him, fighting him is one thing, but winning him is a different ballgame altogether.
I think I completely agree with you. But you know what? Did you see this coming as Wike being the national chairman of the People Democratic Party? With all that has been said about Wike, he's the black sheep of the party. He's one leg in, one leg out. He supports with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. He's always trying as much as possible to, messed up the whole party. A lot has been said. We've read it in the papers. We've seen opposition parties who have been on the program who have spoken about Wike being the problem. He's problematic. He's this. He's that. Did you see this coming?
Well, I wouldn't say I saw this coming, but I had some idea that someone in this neighborhood was going to happen, right? And I'll tell you why.
Not minding looking at the Turaki-led faction and all of that.
You see, like I said, motive is very important. Let's be clear with ourselves. He's not trying to hold brief for Wike. I'm not close to any of them. I don't have a relationship on account with any of them. I've not even so much as interviewed Mr. Wike at any point in time. But what was the thing, right? Can the Turaki-led faction say they love the PDP, they care about the PDP more than Wiki? Let's be clear. So, on what basis are you fighting, right? It's like you say you're fighting corruption. Why are you fighting corruption? Is it because you know that corruption will destroy a country? Or is it because there's a particular person you see as a political opponent and you want to use the fight against corruption as a front to actually grind an axe with them? All right, so motive is very important, even in law, for example. So for Wiki, it's a fight of who loves PDP more. Who wants PDP to survive between you and me? That's where we are right now. And you also ask yourself, who has been there longer in terms of those dark times of the PDP? It's not like the PDP is out of the woods just yet. No, that things had also been tougher for the party at one point in time. Some people, you speak with them about the PDP, I mean, those who are members of the PDP who have their ears and eyes to the ground, they tell you this is a guy who was making money available when nobody was ready to do that. When people even felt putting your money in PDP was a waste. So how is it that 1 minute you felt putting your money in PDP was a waste, the next minute you turn around and you say, this party is our party? Meanwhile, the guy who really never said much about it has been the one funding the party, carrying on with the party the entire time. I'll give you a very clear example. An event was held yesterday, for instance. I mean, I've been in the media for more than 2 weeks, right? You look at that whole velodrome, you see the electronics, you see the sound, you see the media presence that was huge, that was palpable. He was not Santa Claus that brought it. He's not even designed yet, by the way. So what's the point? The point is that money, or all of those monies, have to come from a particular source. Who is funding it? It's not the federal government, of course. It's not the World Bank, right? So those are the issues, right? Someone has to be responsible. And that's why you realize that it is he who pays the piper that dictates the music. It has always been life's principle, and it will stay that way forever. I think those who have been on the other side against Wiki must now have everything to say, look, what is really our focus? What's our concern? What's our priority? Is it to fight Wiki and prove a point, or is it to fix the PDP? I think that misalignment has been a problem for the Turaki side. It has always been about, let's prove a point to this boy, this man, you know, that kind of thinking. But the question is, while you're at it, how is it impacting the PDP? So we can wakes up and says, no, this party we must save it. Even though we are not going to field a candidate for presidency in 2027, but let's fix our party, let's get our party, retrieve our party. Back on track. I realized that at the end of the convention a few hours ago, he said, we have taken back our party.
Now, what's your take on the problem he mentioned about defectors and mandate?
I'm bringing them back.
What's your take on that? I'm sure they were like, what is it?
The question is really, have we ever done that? Have we ever seen a situation where somebody won an election on the platform of party A?
Exactly.
And then the defected to party B, they had to return mandate to no, that never happened. Unfortunately, it goes better. But you see, it's politics. You must.
Don't you see this as a change or some sort, or like you mentioned, involvement? You know, we are evolving. The world is evolving, and he has proved the point that you can actually work with the opposition party and still, and not just getting away with it, for the betterment or for the good of the country, and make positive impact. Working with the opposition party. He's working with APC President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and of course, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu gave him this particular appointment as FCT. Exactly, and you see the bridge in which the gap in which he's trying to build together, and still he is a card-carrying member. You know, he said it, and like I said, I'm not holding brief for the FCT minister. So Wike, I don't work with him and all of that, but you know, he's a man true to his word. When he says, I am a card-carrying member of the People Democratic Party, he is. We have seen, he has proven it. But at the same time, it's not just thinking about himself or what he will benefit. I think it's a balance in which he's trying to bring here with the opposition party and of course the PDP. It doesn't matter whether, let me use sworn enemies, because everyone is trying to pull one person down. But with that, Uli, what has that taught you as an individual?
You know, quite frankly, let's start from the first one, the issue of asking defectors to return their money. I think this is trying to invent, so to speak, a context, all right? I think what it's trying to do is to say that, look, by 2027, we'll make sure you do not return, at least not on our ticket, not on our platform. You can't use our party as a special purpose vehicle anymore. Whatever you got from this party, you're done and dusted. There's no going back. You can't return on our ticket.
I'm sorry to just delve into that. You know, you mentioned something. He said even if you defect, it doesn't guarantee you.
He said that to his strange political gossip.
Yes, he did. He did.
You see, so Wike, again, like I mentioned, is the maverick, right? He has a way of not necessarily breaking the rules, but bending them, redefining them,
and getting away with them.
Right. So we've seen that he has done that time and again. And at the end of the day, you realize that everybody is going to be realigning with Wike one at a time. Starting from this week, I mean, we're going to have that conversation here in the days ahead, right? I mean, Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan was there last night, for example.
Yes.
She gave a speech. I mean, before now, she was not in the Wike camp. So what changed? What happened? Are you telling me? Yes, a Wike called on the phone to say, look, you've got to come join us.
She was in her party.
So she has looked at the options on the table.
Exactly.
She has looked at the optics, the political realities, not just in Nigeria in general, but in Kogi, and then of course in a place like her senatorial district in particular. Let's not get it twisted. Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan is loved by her people. We've seen that on television, we've seen that on the ground. But you see, in Nigerian politics, you need more than that. You need to be in the good books of those who call the shots, those who are the gatekeepers.
Yes, exactly.
Those who influence the process. Those who are the power brokers, the kingmakers. You need them. Otherwise, you'll be shocked that at the end of the day, it will be a situation of what I ordered versus what I got.
Now, with all of that, for you, in the convention, what was the highlight for you when you saw the individuals that came? You know how packed the World Drum was. Of course, you saw everything. You saw Wike being the party chairman of the PDP, national leader. I mean, all that has been said about him, and individuals pouring in their support and all of that. What was the highlight for you, Uyi, at that point?
I think what it shows is that the PDP still has has boots on the ground, right?
So it hasn't been kicked to the curb yet?
No, exactly, that's the point. So it still has boots on the ground. The PDP still has supporters. The PDP still has its presence.
So coming to that, so the PDP is not a write-off. So the PDP has something to offer.
It does. It does. Okay. I mean, if you saw what happened there last night, it does, right? But more importantly, it also shows that Wike is a force to reckon with in Nigerian politics. You can't take that away. It's not about how you feel about him. It's not about whether you like him or not. In politics, which is a mistake most people make, they try to bring sentiments into the conversation. They try to bring emotions and biases. It doesn't work like that. And that's why you realize that I may not agree with you on 9 out of 10 things, yet I will be your most trusted political ally because we share something in common, which is maybe a common vision, common goal, or what have you. So we saw all of that last night. We also saw a handful of people who are tired of the infighting within the party, who have not said to themselves very clearly, look, you see this Wike man, I really don't like him much, but
he has something to offer.
First, right. And the man has been able to help us weather the storm for this longer time. On account of that, shouldn't we see that there's something about him that is spectacular, that is a blessing for our party, that can give us some sort of advantage in 2027, and then of course help to salvage whatever is left of our party, our beloved party, that sort of thing. So I've seen all of those people coming. Then we've also seen people who now understand that the PDP must take charge and get its act together beyond all of this infighting, setting up several committees to say we want to reconcile ourselves, and those committees and whatever it is they are doing do not see the light of day. The last one was, I think, the one set up headed by Senator Bukola Saraki, which again was neither here nor there. Today, the same man, the senator himself, has moved to join Wike, and he gave a speech there yesterday. All right, so I saw all of that, and I saw a PDP that can continue to gradually but steadily regalvanize, all right, re-engineer, rework, reinvent itself, continue to bump its membership, all right, in such a way that it's just a matter of time. It can get its act together again. But the PDP must now realize that it cannot solve its problems using the same kind of attitudes and thinking that created those problems in the first instance. And you're also now asking yourself, how do you get it back to people like former President Goodluck Jonathan to be actively involved in the activities of the party? Because when you talk to some of these PDP members, they tell you, yes, the former president is a member of our party, we know he has not resigned, have you seen him resign? It's not about whether he has resigned or not.
But he's quiet.
His body language. All right. So how is it that this? Because for somebody who had been at that level, who at the time was the leader of the party, both as the president of the country and the leader of your party, and today he says next to no word about all of the happening in your party. Is that not? That should be sobering.
That's a sign.
Yes, it's a very loud silence that should bother every right-wing member of the PDP and things like that. So the PDP will have that as part of its work to do going forward. But as it stands today, the PDP has something to brag about, which is to say that it's still very much alive and active, but it will have to continue to expand in terms of membership strength, retweak its strategies, and ensure that it's clear or what it wants to do going into elections, whether 2027 or 2031.
At the long run, we now see that the PDP, they're trying to structure when it comes to this particular issue of no structure, internal crisis, and all of that. But at least there's a lifting, a little, not fully, but at least there is something to at least look back to and say, okay, okay, we see something. Let's just leave it at that.
And the final matter again, we need to add this, Jumai, just so we expand this perspective. It appears from indicators, I'm not so sure, that the Turkey-led side of the party is meeting now following this convention of last night, right? So they are probably asking themselves, where does this leave us? Yes, we have an appeal pending in court, and we're hoping that appeal turns out in our favor. And if it does, we'll also now be either even with the weakest side of the party, or we'll be a step ahead of them. But while we are optimistic of the outcome of that court process, what options do we have right now? Is it to reconcile with Wike, even though that is in itself not convenient? Is it to look for another political vehicle, whether the ADC or something else? Should we align with former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, a man some people say has been wasting their ticket over time, all right? What exactly are options? I think that's happening. Because let's be clear, there are people in the Turaki-led bloc of the party who have ambition for 2027.
True.
You see, it will give you real concern if you were in that party, in that bloc of the party, and you want to stand for election in 2027. Because you're asking yourself, what will happen to us, right? Because while on the one hand, we don't want to identify or align with Wike and his people, on the other hand, what do we do? Should we go to the ADC, or should we continue to believe that these are our own faction of the PDP will win in court, and then override whatever Wike and his people have done, including this convention so far? Those are the options most of these guys are looking at. And in politics, again, like I said, you must remove emotions, sentiments, and biases, and align with the optics and the realities of the day. Otherwise, you realize that many of those people on the other side will regret not aligning early enough with yes or Wike.
I completely agree, Ian. Of course, I hope I didn't put you on the spot so much. You were at the convention.
You got me to do my job properly.
Exactly.
I'm grateful for that.
Exactly.
All right, so that's where we're living it today on Global Morning. It's been quite an interesting Monday, no doubt about that. But the week has just gotten started.
Yes.
There's so much to talk about in the days ahead, and Global Television will continue to track all of these developments for you across all of our programs in the course of our broadcast here. And again, just to say we're appreciative for all the time you spent with us. I am Uyi Agmofwebe.
And I am Jumai Mountain. And to put Uyi on the spot again, the views of all our guests are their own opinion. Not again. I'm just kidding. All right, have an amazing day ahead. I am Jumai Manson, and from Uyi and I, we say bye-bye.